The Warning is a Mexican band formed in 2013 with three sisters, Paulina, Alejandra, and Daniela. They start posting covers on YouTube and gain momentum after their cover of Enter Sandman by Metallica went viral. But you already know that, don't you? On this channel I discover content, so it's kind of hard for me to bring new material once I am past the reaction phase. So back when I reacted to Bondmaid, I discovered channels, Discords, and so many things with fans that were going in really deep in details about their favorite band. So I asked myself what was something new that I could bring. Well, when everyone was focused on the band, I turned my eyes to the fans. As a small channel, I kept being amazed by the dedication of the fans coming in my comments once I posted a reaction to a band they love, commenting, subscribing, sharing. On this channel I talk about topics that I love, no matter if it's going to bring me a lot of views or not, but I really have to give it to the fans. You are the one growing my channel and it's something that I deeply appreciate, so I want to say thank you. But given this fact, it's only natural that I turned my curiosity to you. Yeah, you watching this video. After I reacted to their collaboration with Bondmaid, The Warning kept being requested in my comment sections. So of course I do what I do and I made a video reaction. And the next thing I knew, I was buying a concert ticket for their Paris concert in April. Then on a 6-hour car journey with my boyfriend, I made him listen to The Warning and he was just as sold as me. So the next thing I knew, I bought him a ticket to their show in Paris in April. Because that's right, the one thing that I do when I enter a fandom is lose money. But life is too short. Then I started to listen to their latest album. I still kept earlier work, for future reactions, but I kinda binged to keep me fed, I have to be honest. So let's talk about it. Welcome to my expose on The Warning fandom. Grab a drink, take a blanket, and prepare yourself. You've been warned. A tiny note, I was so sick last week. I caught a huge sinus infection, and to be honest, I am still really suffering, and I have very low energy, so if I am out of breath, don't panic. I hope it's not annoying. I'm doing my best today. Just a very tiny reminder on The Warning in case there are a few people who stumbled on this video by complete luck. So the three members of The Warning are musicians that started very early. So they are three sisters and they formed The Warning in 2013, influenced as kids by their parents' passion for rock and the game Rock Band. They were also heavily inspired by bands like AC/DC, Pink Floyd, Metallica, Queen, Muse, and the three sisters are Daniela, she's the eldest and she picked the guitar. She was 13 when they started The Warning. Paulina picked the drum and she was 11 when they started. And Alejandra picked the bass and she was 9 when The Warning started. The three of them can also play piano and I cannot stress enough how impressive that is that they started so young. When I see people talk about them on the internet, it almost seems like, I don't know, it's normal or chill, but I'm always so impressed that they started a band that young and they started releasing EPs and albums, That is madly impressive. If today one of the biggest ways for musicians to be discovered online is through TikTok, back in the 2010s, the way was YouTube. Posting covers or original song could help you go viral on the platform or be shared on other social media, especially Twitter, and back then when you went viral, there was a good chance that you could end up on a TV show, which is what happened to The Warning. After they posted their cover of the song Enter Sandman by Metallica, it went viral and they were invited on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Even though our dear Ellen has known a downfall in the last years, back then it was the place to be. I remember I was a teenager and I dreamed of doing something that could get me invited there. To take a look at their discography, and I cannot stress enough how impressive it is that now they are between 20 and 24 and they already have released 2 EP and 4 albums. This is insane. So we had Escape the Mind, their first EP released in 2015, 21st Century Blood, their first album released in 2017. Their second album, Queen of the Murder Scene, was released in 2018. Their second EP, Mayday, was released in 2021. By the way, I think that this is the most beautiful cover that I have seen in a while. Like, it's so majestic. The quality of the image is incredible. I don't know, I'm obsessed with it, it's so beautiful. Their third album, Error, was released in 2022, and their latest album, Keep Me Fed, was released in 2024. Okay, now everyone is up to date on who we are talking about today. But now that we remember who the Warning are, I want to talk about the Warning fans. So I shared a survey to prepare for this video with a lot of questions on what it's like to be a fan of the Warning, a lot of questions to understand who the fans are, and I have to say I'm really thankful because this survey got 358 answers, which is a lot, and it really gave me a lot of material to write this video. So thank you so much to everyone who took the time to answer this survey. Your names are on the screen. I asked people who wanted a shout out to leave me their name at the end of the survey, so thank you so much. It's thanks to you that I can write this video. So I hope that you give yourself a treat today. I also want to thank my Patreons for going the extra mile to support my channel, because it also allows me to spend more time on these really deep videos. So thank you so much to them. Their names are on the screen. If you want, you can go to my Patreon with the link in the description. There are quite a lot of extra reactions on there, and I post from 3 to 4 every month. As I will be sharing the results of the survey and analyzing them, I want us to keep in mind that it is not the perfectly objective picture of the fandom. It is slightly biased by the fact that the people who answer this survey were already inclined to answer to some content that I would share. They are coming from a video of mine. They might be subscribers of mine. I know that my channel has mostly male subscribers, so this is slightly influencing the results, but at the same time, so I shared the survey on my reaction to Breathe and Black Holes, and I had 27,000 views on this video, so it really reached outside of my following pool. So I also want to mitigate that, and I think the answers are slightly influenced by the demographic of my viewers, but at the same time, this, reached a lot of people. So I also want to think that this is a rather neutral picture of the Warning fandom, but it won't be perfectly objective. Let's just keep that in mind. So the first thing that we need to look at if we want to know who is an average fan of the Warning is what is their age and what is their gender. So my first question was, what age are you? And the average age of a fan of the Warning, according to my survey, is 51-year-old. I think that I was slightly expecting that given the demographic of my viewers, but still, I'm 24, so hi. So the biggest age group in my survey was from 50 to 59. 33% of the people who answered were in this age bracket, followed by 60 to 69, and what a beautiful age, with 22% of people answering being in this bracket. Then we have 40 to 49 with 17% of respondents, then 30 to 39 with 11% of respondents, followed by 18 to 29 with 10% of respondents, so that would be me, and 1% of the respondents are minors. So I want you to remember, stay in school, fight for your social rights, and protect yourself when you're having sex. And 6% of y'all are 70 or plus. If you're more than 70, can you please share some wisdom with the rest of us in my comments? That would be appreciated. The second thing that I wanted to know is there like a specific gender that is prevalent in the fandom of the Warning? I wasn't really surprised. It also matches my demographic of viewers. The crushing majority of respondents are men with 94%. We also had 4% of women, so if that's you, please say hi in the comments. 1% of respondents indicated that they are non-binary or that they don't define themselves in the binary system of genres, so I want to say hi to you. And I also want to take this as a reminder that my channel is 100% LGBT safe. I will not tolerate any homophobia, transphobia, lesbophobia, or any queerphobia in the comments, as the West is taking a more and more worrying stance against the human rights of queer people. I wanted to keep this reminder, and if you are homophobe or queerphobe and you don't tolerate other people, you can leave this channel. So the average fan of The Warning, according to my survey so far, is a 51-year-old man. Then I wanted to know which country are the fans of The Warning from, and it was also funny because I got to compare the answers with the answers that I got on my bandmate survey. I'm not really surprised, but 47% of respondents are from the United States of America, which people managed to spell things different ways in the answer, and I am not even counting the people who mentioned their states. Then we have 13% of respondents that are from Mexico, and this is not super surprising given the fact that The Warning are a Mexican band, and often you're going to have a lot of people from the band's country of origin who are going to support them. Then 6% of the respondents are from Canada, 5% from Germany, 3% from the UK, and 2% from France. 42 different countries were mentioned in the answer. And so if I compare the results to the ones that I got on my survey on the bandmate fandom, we have a little less people from the US. Mexico rose in the top countries without surprise since the band is Mexican, and we don't have Japan mentioned at all. Like, no one who answered my survey said they were from Japan, when I still had 4% of respondents who were from Japan on my bandmate survey. And it's not surprising to find in both a lot of people from the US, the UK, and European countries, since my channel is in English, so I'm guessing that it is mostly pushed to people who speak English. I also had 2 people say that they are from Europe, which is not a country, but I still appreciate your effort. The next thing that I wanted to explore is the relationship that the fans have with The Warning. By the way, I got new tattoos, and especially something that I want to identify with my questions is why they appreciate The Warning, and I also want to go back to the roots and understand what made them fans and when they started being a fan. Because like, something that is interesting to see is like, is most of the fandom recent, meaning that maybe the band went viral recently, or do they still have a lot of their following from the beginning, which indicates quality like through time, and it also indicates that the band is investing efforts into fostering proximity with their fans. So my first question in this section was, how long have you been a fan? What was the moment that sparked the flame? Some people went in more details in following questions, but I'm glad because I know that they identified what I meant with the question, but it's not like, when did you discover them? It really is like, what was the moment when you really identified it as a fan? So most of the fandom is from 2022 to 2023, according to my survey, because 36% of people got to know them and became fan with their third album coming out. Then we have 16.5% of people who became fan with their fourth album, which came out last year, and that would include me. Then we have 15.6%, so it was quite close, of people who became fan with actually their debut in a label in 2020 or 2021. Then 14% of respondents indicated that they became fan with their second album. 6% of people discovered them at their beginnings, so we still have a very loyal portion of people who are there, which is always nice. And then we have 11% of respondents who became fan between 2015 and 2017, especially with their appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show and their first album. So honestly, when we look at that, most of the fandom is pretty recent, but it's still nice to see that some people who discovered them during their beginnings and when they were really young are still there and still supporting the band. To me, seeing that also they gained a huge portion of their fandom after their debut with a label is a good indicator that they invested in their success and in promoting their music. So For me, that's a good sign. Then my next question was, how did you discover the warning? This is one of my favorite questions. I really love understanding what sparked the interest of fans, especially because means of discovering music are so diverse. Even if you just look at today, you have so many ways of discovering new music. You can only just be on streaming platforms. You can be on like kind of underground streaming platforms. We used to have SoundCloud. Now it's big, but it's still a way to discover new music. You have YouTube, you have TikTok, and I am not even talking about like physical ways of discovering a band by just like going to your local bar or a festival and so on and so on. So many ways. I want to know how people discovered the warning. 43% of people who discovered the warning through YouTube, and here it is specifically through the algorithm and video recommendations. Then we have 16% of people who discovered them with their Enter Sandman cover. And if we kind of cross this information with the last information that we got, it still indicates to us that this video has stayed popular through time, and even after 2015 people kept discovering the warning through this video that was so popular on YouTube, and that was also shared by one of the members of Metallica. We have then 13% of people who discovered the warning through reactions channels, which is really cool to me because I really started to dig deep in reaction content when I started producing this type of content, and honestly it's such a powerful way of promoting music. I'm really impressed. But if you really look at it, it is up to 72% of people who discovered the warning through YouTube. Editing Leo here, originally I wrote that this could be taken as today we're going to see more and more bands really pop off thanks to TikTok, and back then it was more thanks to YouTube, but I want to mitigate that comment because we also saw in the results of my survey that a lot of people discovered the warning after 2020, 2021, and especially after 2022. So it was already a time when TikTok was one of the main platforms where you could discover music. First of all, this has to be mitigated by the fact that here we are on YouTube, we are in the space of reactions channels, so we are in the space of fans who are on YouTube, if this makes sense. But to me, it also shows like what generation is really into the warning, because even though this has changed a bit after the pandemic, TikTok is still one of the platforms where you have younger demographics, whereas YouTube is more going to reach through almost all ages, but it's going to be one of the main platforms where older generations are going to consume content. So yeah, as I personally have been consuming a lot of content on TikTok in the past years and discovering a lot of music there, it's nice to see that YouTube is still one of the main platforms where musicians can be discovered. 5% of respondents indicated that they discovered the warning through a recommendation of a friend or family. So it's really nice to know that y'all have a good entourage. 3% of respondents indicated that they discovered the warning specifically through their TED Talk. 3% via social media like Facebook and Instagram. 2% indicated that they discovered them at festivals or at shows where they were the opener, with Hailstorm for example. 2% discovered them via their 2023 MTV performance. 2% stumbled upon them while trying to look for new music. 1.5% discovered them via Spotify or other streaming platforms. 1% discovered them via their collab with Bondmade, and then we had a few other ways that were pointed out as radio or TV, but they really were a very, very, very small portion. Here are some answers that I wanted to highlight. How did you discover the warning? We are neighbors. Someone said that they discovered the warning on an Instagram reel with a lot of girls in the comment section being like, "I'm so gay." That's my people. That's the kind of person I get. Someone said a friend went to a festival called Tecate Pal Norte, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in Monterrey, Mexico, and the warning performed there. My friend recorded several videos of different artists, and one of them was the warning. She showed me the video and I liked it, so I looked them up on YouTube, and after that there was no turning back. I became a huge fan. That's great! I love when friends share music. Someone said a photographer friend did an interview with them and posted the show with his review and photos, and I really wish I had friends that did that. Some people simply don't remember. And someone shared a very sweet experience, so I wanted to highlight it. They said, "My wife was dying from cancer, diagnosed at the end of 2017, and I was just knowing I would lose her. In the middle of 2018, I came across them on YouTube. Both of us being music lovers, I showed her videos of the girls. We loved them so much that we watched everything we could find on them. I lost my wife in June 2020, and because of the love we both had for them, I watched them endlessly. Now I've found so many of you giving reactions to their music, and I watch these, and for you, it's as if she's still here with me watching the girls as new all over again. Love your videos, thank you for doing them, be well." Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Your wife had the huge privilege to spend her life with you. I'm really wishing you well. When we are talking about fans and their favorite band, one thing that I like to know is what is their favorite album? This is also a good question for my curiosity because I want to see if one specific album or EP rises above the rest, and it's a good indicator for me. I'm gonna be like, okay, this is the first one that I'm going to listen to, you know? Let's take a look at the answers. We actually have two albums that came very close to each other. Queen of the Murder Scene as the first place with 37.2% of people indicating that this is their favorite album, and Error is super close with 36.6%. The third album that stood out is Keep Me Fed, and right now this is my favorite album, but it's because it's the only one that I've completely listened to. 21st Century Blood and Escape the Mind had a few people indicating that these were their favorite album, and Mayday had really 0 people choosing it. But it's there. It's almost the same question, but it's always useful for me. For the same reason, I like to know if a specific song rises above the rest. And it's also a good playlist for me to go through when I'm done with the video. Oh, my eye is hurting. Man, it hurts. And this is a question that people hate and it's super hard to answer, and people love to tell me how bad this question is and how they don't want to answer it. So I had a lot of people who said that they liked too many songs or that they love all of their songs. So 8% of people answered that. I want to stress the fact that this question you had to answer manually. A lot of people took the time to really type that they couldn't choose. Then we had 8% of people who straight up said that they couldn't pick. Then we had 7.5% of people who said that their favorite song was the last one that they listened to. And then we had 4% of people who said that no, they don't have a favorite song. But we still had a lot of people who gave me an answer, and this was interesting for me and a good opportunity to see what were the songs that stood out. So the song that was mentioned the most is Dust to Dust, with 19 people mentioning it. Then we had Martyrio with 18 people mentioning this song. 18 people mentioned Evolve. Then Disciple with 17 answers. 16 people mentioned Hell You Call a Dream. 15 people mentioned Automatic Sun. 11 people mentioned Animosity. 11 people mentioned Survive. I hope you like to geek about shit as much as me, because I know I'm going into details and I know I am stating a lot of shit, but I don't know. This is generally so fucking interesting to me, so I hope you're hanging in there. Then we had When I'm Alone with 11 people. 8 people mentioned the song Queen of the Murder Scene. 8 people mentioned Sharks. 7 people mentioned Choke. 7 people mentioned Z. 6 people mentioned Consume. 6 people mentioned Crimson Queen. 5 people mentioned Revenant. 4 people mentioned Psychotic. And 4 people mentioned Breathe. A lot of other songs were mentioned, and they are going to appear on the screen as I am speaking. And we only had 2 people who mentioned the song Que Más Quieres as their favorite, which is a shame because it's actually my favorite. So if there was a winner, it would be this one because I make the rules. Now that we know a little more how the fans discovered the Warning, what is their favorite song and album, I want to understand why they love the band. Because even though often when we love a musician, it's purely because of the music, it often goes beyond that. There's always going to be an element of identification or a specific thing about the artist that you're going to appreciate specifically, and that is going to make you identify as a fan, or that is going to make you really want to say that this is a band you want to support. So I asked, why are you a fan of The Warning? And the reasons that came back the most overall, because I read every single answer, let me tell you. What we had coming back the most was the fact that they are very talented. We had some Mexican fans who feel like they can identify to them. Something that came back a lot is the fact that they do great rock music and that their music can appeal to kind of old school rock fans. A lot of people mentioned the fact that they are very authentic, and a lot of people also appreciate the fact that they got to where they are because of their talent and on their own. Again, I really want to thank you for taking the time to share your answers with me. As I said, I read all of them and it was such an interesting read. Here are some answers that I wanted to highlight. Their music is great, a very classic kind of rock. They're Mexican sisters and they are doing all the work to get where they are right now. They're great musicians. I am addicted. I love every single song. They're so talented. Their music has elements of all genres I like. They are amazing performers and they are genuinely wonderful human beings. They create a connection with the listener in every song. I've never felt so emotional listening to any other band. I feel a sense of proudness every time I see them perform live. I feel like a proud uncle brother watching greatness unfold. They are reviving rock, old rock in a new fashion, and they are great. They're unique, their work ethic, they give 100% whether it's for 20 people or 20,000. They're just amazing people. They helped keep me sane during COVID and I can relate. I listen to music every night, often searching for something new. I've heard many things I have liked but nothing in rock. My music growing up really got me excited. I heard less than 2 minutes of Disciple on YouTube with just sound, and I knew that something special was going on here. I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. watching the Teatro Metropolitan concert. I was stunned. It was the best concert, musically and performance-wise, that I had seen in decades. Their music struck me to my rock and roll bones and has not let go. The more you get to know them as they are publicly, the more you get sucked in. I believe that they are important as both fantastic role models for young girls in music and as cultural icons that have broken barriers for women in so many ways. This is why I am a patron. Their writing, talent, and fan devotion. Why do you fall in love with someone? It is something you can feel, but it is almost impossible to explain. But if I had to single out just one reason, because of the extraordinary human beings they are. And so many other great answers. Thank you so much. It was such an interesting read. And please let me know in the comments if you identify with the few answers that I have given and highlighted. And don't forget to subscribe. Then the next big thing that I like to get into when I want to look at a specific fandom is the kind of what I've called the fandom environment. So like more than how did you discover, what specifically do you appreciate, I want to understand first things if there are any traditions in the fandom. Whether you are a fandom of a band, of a TV show, or any other thing really, you often are going to develop kind of traditions with the other people who identify as fans, and this is going to make the specific experience of this fandom different from the others. But some people did not entirely understand the question, so I'm sorry it wasn't perfectly clear. To give you an example, fans of Taylor Swift have the friendship bracelets, we have specific things that we sing during the concert. We call ourselves the Swifties. These are examples that make the fandom of Taylor Swift very special. And I know that if you're watching this video, you probably don't like Taylor Swift, but I am asking you to keep an open mind, okay? Because if I hadn't had an open mind, I would not have discovered The Warning. So sometimes you don't know something, or you have prejudice against something and then you go past it, or you just develop the curiosity and the open-mindedness to discover new things, and then you have even more good music to listen to. So when I asked, is there any fandom traditions, fans. This absolute king said, I'm waiting for your video to learn them. And shout out to you. Let me know if you're watching this video. This answer made me laugh. And so some of the things I started to notice, but the traditions that stood out, as people pointed, are saying you have been warned, and especially to new fans who discover the warning. You have the fact that the fans really try to promote the band and talk about them to new reactors, inform people about everything they can from the warning, click on anything the warning, comment on YouTube, and so on. Sorry, my eye is still hurting. We had a lot of people who indicated that something they felt special in the fandom is the fact that they are inclusive and they try to be nice and respectful among each other. Someone said calling the warning an addiction known as warningholics, which I'd never heard, so it's really fun. A lot of people pointed out that they each have special days. So Friday is Danny Day, Saturday is Paulina Day, and Sunday is Alejandra Day. Someone explained to me that it's because during the pandemic, they started uploading personal videos on different days of the week as a way to keep sharing content with their fans. Someone said that a tradition is throwing fake $100 bills during the song Money, and they also said being disappointed by award shows, and I agree because I did not see the warning on the Grammys list this year. Someone said warning as many people as possible, and it really goes with the first thing that I've stated. Someone said a tradition is kind of having this habit of like your favorite song is the last one that you listened to. Chanting Rudy, Rudy, Rudy when the band manager comes on stage. There is their Patreons. Someone pointed out that they have specific chants, but they did not explain to me, and I did not see them in the answers. So if you know them, please let me know in the comments. The last thing that really stood out was like requesting an encore in Spanish, which is their mother tongue. My next question, and we are entering something a little less positive, but my question was, have fans ever misconducted with the members of the warning? And the overwhelming majority of people answered no, or answered that they don't know, but as this answer pointed out, when women expose themselves publicly, they will have to have their fair share of creep, making their life harder. And I think it's important to talk about it as to not brush the problem under the rug, and as someone pointed out in the answers, the fandom police itself. So if there are creeps that creep out low, they make sure to stay vigilant and not tolerate their behavior. Although people didn't really give me specific examples, here are a few answers that I wanted to highlight. There are definitely a few bad eggs out there who behave inappropriately or get a little too obsessed. As with any famous people, especially women, overall, that's a very small minority. Not seriously, as far as I'm aware, they tour with their parents, who are very protective of them, as is the rest of their permanent team, so there would be little chance for anyone to do so, which is very reassuring to read. I've seen people online act really possessive of and obsessive over them. I can't think of anything specifically, but they've mentioned in interviews that they've had to deal with their share of online creeps. Someone said in that case they won't be fans but haters. I wouldn't call them fans, just creepy old men. I have seen some people, mostly male, focusing on the band as young and attractive women instead of as musicians. I've seen some lewd comments on X, which honestly X is just a hellhole, so I'm not surprised. I'm sure it has happened, but I've never personally witnessed it. The fans generally police each other. Most of us seem to treat them like family. Depending on the seriousness, they have been put aside, or in the most serious cases, Rudy, their manager, has been informed so that he can take action on the matter. That's the thing with the warning. They are reachable. You can write to Rudy, even Louis, their dad, and they respond, or at least they are aware of what is happening. The band itself is not just the three of them. Within the team, they are the father, the mother, and the technicians, who 85% of the time are the same on all the tours. They are a family, and they are all very reachable. Of course, the girls themselves don't usually answer messages or things like that, since they are protected by these people, and that makes them shine the way they do. Maybe every now and then they interact with each other, people in some way or another. Even until not long ago, each one of them separately went live on Instagram while they did things from their daily lives and took the time to talk to people and so on. I think that makes them unique. No, well, I don't think so. There is a lot of hate from people who are not part of the fandom. Most of them are Mexican. They are bothered that they are succeeding since many rock bands have come out of Mexico, especially from Monterrey, where the girls from The Warning were born. The rock music that these bands from Mexico make is completely in Spanish and their sound is much more rooted in Mexico. Most of them are men. Those bands were very famous but only in Mexico and parts of Latin America. So when people see that a band of young women is achieving great things, they get upset and throw hate at them. So this sucks. The next question that I asked is, has there ever been really bad or dangerous behaviors from fans towards the band? And here I was talking about stuff like doxing or AI porn. And AI porn is something that I want to bring up, especially in my fandom analysis videos, and that I think it's important to talk about because some people were shocked that I asked this question and singled out the threat of AI porn, but it's because one of the main usage of AI image generation is creating porn out of the faces of women, and this threat is especially touching famous women, of course, and it's a huge phenomenon, and I think it's important to fight it because not being part of the problem and not generating such content or not consuming it is a thing, but I think it's important to actively fight it in order to protect the life of women. A lot of men who answered the survey pointed out that they have daughters who are around the age of the members of The Warning. So I feel like this is also an important reminder to you watching this video, because I promise you that unfortunately they are likely to be potential victims of this phenomenon. And this is why in the description of this video I shared a few articles with ways we can fight AI porn and how to try to slow down this phenomenon. And yeah, I know it's not very fun, but I feel like to make sure the famous women that you follow, the famous women that I follow are safe, we need to stay aware of this threat and try to fight it if we can and be part of the solution. I have been creating content for quite a while because this YouTube channel is not my first platform. I've always been a very small creator, but I don't want to look up my name on shady sites because I'm afraid of what I could find. Especially if you're a woman online, you are not safe from these threats. Just the other day on Instagram, really last week, I had a man send me a message because he wanted to know if he could offer me money in exchange of pictures and videos of me. I don't know. And it surprised a lot of men in my survey, but yeah, I can guarantee you that this is an active threat, and if you are a woman online or you are a famous woman, I can guarantee you that this is something that is in your mind all the time. Here was my little PSA. So here are some of the answers that people gave. I once heard of a fan account doxing something. I think it was Rudy's home or office. And again, doxing is also such a huge fucking threat. Leave people alone. There is a gross subreddit that really over-sexualizes the girls, and I've seen a lot of gross comments from older men about them as well. It wouldn't surprise me at all, the core fan base is very protective, but the more popular and older they get, the more they will be sexualized. I don't think it's from their fans, but they do have too many haters, especially in their own country, for the fact that they sing in English. There are a number of fake Danny, Poe, Ale, Louis, money out there. I haven't heard about AI porn, doesn't mean it is not happening with some sick persons. Unfortunately, there are definitely plenty of creeps out there. As far as I know, there have mainly been fans who will spam the ladies on Instagram accounts with messages. I know they let their management team read the comments for them. I'm sure someone at some time has made inappropriate pictures of them, but I'm not aware of anything specific. You had people pointing out that they are fake accounts of them on Facebook and Telegram, and that Paulina had to upload several stories on Instagram to explain that these are fake and that people don't have to fall for these scams. Someone said, yes, I use Facebook groups to interact with the fandom, and in those I've seen a lot of times that people anonymously post pictures of their partners and private life. They are not supposed to be made to the public. I'm sorry, I know that this is a little heavy part of the video, but as I've noticed that the warning, started very early and exposed themselves on the internet as children, I wanted to see if anything had happened. I'm glad to see that the overwhelming majority of people are not aware of anything, because it indicates that probably not a lot of things happened or even nothing, which I really hope. But I wanted to do also a little PSA, because as fans and as I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, a lot of people watching this video are fathers. We need to make sure the internet is a safe place for women to keep doing projects, develop their music or any other form of things that they want to share. But I'm really glad to see such an overwhelming sentiment of protection and people pointing out that the fandom police themselves, that they do not platform creeps. It's really reassuring. The last thing that I wanted to explore regarding the people who define themselves as fans of The Warning is what other music do they love? So I asked what music genres do they listen to. Without any surprise, 96% of respondents indicated that they listen to rock, 60% of respondents indicated that they listen to metal, 25% listen to blues, 24% listen to pop, 15% listen to electronic music, 10% to R&B, 7% to rap, and 4% to jazz. I had some people who added answers and gave me some specific genres of metal, like industrial or new metal, or specific subgenres of rock. People also mentioned punk, K-pop, J-pop, alternative music, country, classical, reggae. But without any surprise, almost everyone said that they listen to rock, and because at the same time, who doesn't? But I'm glad to see that a fourth of people listen to pop. It's a genre that I like a lot. There is another question that I really wanted to ask. It is, what's your favorite musical era? 40% of people said that it is the 80s, 20% said the 90s, followed very tightly by the 70s with 20% also. 7% said that it was the 2000s, 6% said the 2020s, 4.5% said the 2010s, and 2% said the 60s. And it's quite funny to me because this data goes very closely with the data on age. I kind of have this theory that the music that you listen to during your teenage years is going to come off as your favorite music when you are asked the question. And so I compared the graphics of my question on the age and the graphic of my question of the favorite music era, and here's what we have. So for example, for 50 to 59, I put the color pink, and on the question, what's your favorite music era, I put the same color for the era where this age group would have been teenagers. You can see that it is actually rather close, which I think is super interesting and low-key confirms my theory. Okay, I oversimplified here. If you actually look in the data that I have and you check the age group of the people and what is their favorite music decade, of course you're not always going to have the decade of their teenage years, but this is a reflection that I had the other day, and even though this does not strictly validates it, I still think that it's interesting, and I'm going to show you the Excel with all the data, so you can check it if you are a bit curious. What is a Leo survey without a question on countries? So, of course, I asked the question, which country's music do you listen to the most? 23 people answered that they listen to music from all countries, although, of course, we love keeping an open mind. I wanted some details. 32% of people said that they listen to music from the US, 24% of music from the UK, 16% of music from Mexico, 8.6% listen to music from Japan, 6% listen to music from Canada, 3% listen to music from Finland, 2.5% from Argentina, and I had to sneak France in there because it's my country, and 1.7% listen to music from France. Some other countries that were mentioned were India, Colombia, Brazil, Spain, Germany, South Korea, Belgium. Do you listen to Angèle or Stromae? I need to know. Russia, Chile, Indonesia, Netherlands, Turkey, Sweden. So we are quite diverse. And then, of course, since we are listening to The Warning, I asked the question, do you listen to all women bands beside The Warning? Someone said, no, most of them are crap. You need to open your fucking ears and be a little more curious, because if you think that most all women bands are crap, you need to check yourself. 28% of people said that they don't listen to all women band outside of The Warning. So, this is why I'm going to share with you the recommendations of all women band that the respondents mentioned. The list is appearing on the screen, and people have also mentioned a lot of women-fronted bands, and I'm also going to put the list on the screen. All of these bands are mentioned by respondents of this survey, so now you have no excuse because I just share with you so many recs. I can guarantee you that many of them are amazing. I also asked people why they think women are less present in rock, but this is a question that I am keeping for a future video. Also, someone kept answering my survey in Spanish, and I really want to thank you for having such faith in me, but I don't speak in Spanish. But I want to say, gracias por creer en mí, pero no hablo español. Estoy usando Google Translate para contarte esta frase. Usted es maravilloso. I have a shitty accent, but I tried. This video is coming to an end. If we drew a simplified portrait of the average fan of The Warning, according to my survey, we would have a 51-year-old man from North America who listens to rock and metal from the 80s, mostly from the UK, the US, and Mexico. He discovered The Warning on YouTube after 2021, and his favorite albums are Queen of the Murder Scene and Error. Does this description match you? This video is now coming to an end. I had so much fun writing it. I am glad I got to film it because, as I said, I've been so sick, but I really wanted to post this video, so I really hope that you had a nice time watching it. Let me know in the comments if you identified to any answers, if you didn't have time to answer to the survey but you want to share some stuff with us. You can go in the comments of this video. Thank you again to anyone who took the time to share your answers with me. The names of the people who wanted a shout out are appearing on the screen as I am speaking. Thank you very much for your time and for all of this precious information. Taking a look at the fandom of The Warning made me really excited to go to a The Warning show. As I said, I will be going with my boyfriend in April. I'm really excited, and he is also very excited because he also fell in love with The Warning. Some people have been asking that I do a vlog or like a video where I share my impressions after I go to the show, and I will definitely try to work on that. And I'm a little nervous because, I don't know, I really want to meet other fans of The Warning there, but when I'm in public, I'm really shy, so I don't know. I hope I will get to meet people. If you go to their show in Paris in April, let me know in the comments, It's always nice to chat with people. If you've made it this far, please subscribe to my channel. I know that a lot of people watch my videos, but they don't actually subscribe, which is a shame. If you want to support my channel and have access to extra content, you can go on my Patreon. I uploaded a reaction to Paulina's cover of Creep. So if you're interested in that and you have the extra cash and you want to support my channel and my videos, you can go to my Patreon. It really, really helps. If you had a good time, like this video and share it with another fan of The Warning. I had so much fun working on this video. I was your host, Leo. This was my expose on the fandom of The Warning, and I will see you very soon.